PR is your medium or are your people who communicate what you're telling them to the audience. तो आजकल क्या हो गया है कि the PR people are thinking that they have become an industry.
Correct.
So they are planting the stories
No, he's
on their own
absolutely
merit.
right.
तो I think कि क्या होता है कि PR people के बीच में झगड़ा होता है ना, and you are become the bucket.
You become the scapegoat.
Exactly.
The noise around social media regarding Stree 2 and its success has led me to explore further the nature of PR, aka public relations. This is defined as a strategic communication process that involves managing how information about an organization or individual is shared with the public and media. What was once a way for actors to give their opinion and perspective to the public has now become an industry in its own right, where the organization does everything in its might to position the actor in the strongest way possible. So when a movie is successful, what will be the sole objective of the PR team? To, of course, give credit to the actor that they represent. This will be in the form of articles, interviews, reels through fan pages, and creating an atmosphere where you feel the actor is absolutely killing it. However, with the saturation of the same strategy with multiple actors, it has led to sniffing out PR articles very easily. This will be either posts with the same verbiage used by multiple accounts or fluff articles that don't contribute anything other than singing praises for the actor. Let's be honest about Stree 2. Let's be honest, okay? Who deserves the credit for the film's success? From a cinema enthusiast perspective, a person who watches movies week in and week out, it's pretty clear that the movie is a Rajkumar Rao-led movie where he is doing the heavy lifting. Supported brilliantly by his crew of friends including Abhishek Banerjee, Apar Shakti Khurana and Pankaj Tripathi, delivering most of the hilarious gags and the comedy of errors that led to the hysteria in theatres. Shraddha Kapoor, a contributing factor no doubt, was presented like a mass action hero in the film, but her appearance is sporadic and her character has this ethereal charm and beauty. But who does the heavy lifting? Vicky, who is enamored by this presence. Again, from purely a storytelling perspective, Shraddha and her character portrayal is not complex in any way, whereas Rajkumar Rao and the gang of friends have to be on their A game for the gags to land. This is, however, purely from a storytelling POV. But from a marketing perspective, do you not think Shraddha's team is going to leverage being the second most followed Indian on Instagram? With the success of the film and Shraddha's massive following that you of course cannot deny, of course the most noise will be in support for the actress. However, to see through this and acknowledge that the movie is largely dependent on Raj and his friends to excel is where the audience needs to see through the narrative being created.
ये फिल्म ensemble कास्ट की फिल्म है, ये सबकी फिल्म है. And that is the beauty of this film, जो कि कभी नहीं बदल सकती.
What I think should be very clear in people's mind is that this perception that Shraddha Kapoor is sitting at the head of the table of her PR team and is calling the shots like an evil dictator so that all the credit goes to her is rather hilarious. What's important to understand is that when I get threatening calls from PR teams, it's not hilarious, but I'm just telling you what the reality is. When my videos are calling out actors, most of the time, the actors have no clue that such a call has been made. It's the PR team who is noticing the discourse happening on social media and try their level best in controlling it so that they can create a perception online. So while we know the truth of who was doing the heavy lifting in Stree 2, while I know that Shraddha's massive online following is of course going to create more of the noise, while I know Stree 2 hugely benefits from being a popular IP sequel and largely experiences success due to the idea and writing of Rajan DK and Amar Kaushik, let's be honest. A movie starring Raj or Shraddha or Abhishek Banerjee that is not an IP and solely rests on their star power is not going to get a 50 crore opening. Let's not pretend on the ground level that these are stars who with any film would now kill it at the box office in the near future. This is a movie where everything came together perfectly. It's tough to recreate again.
In such a happy space जहाँ पर इतनी उपलब्धियाँ मिल गई, फिल्म को इतने नंबर मिल गए और इतनी अच्छी चीजें मिल गई, वहाँ पर मुझे लगता है कि हो सकता है ये चीज थोड़ी सी कर्कश लगे. That's it.
For those who also think Shraddha is just a privileged nepo baby, should know that she almost sabotaged her own career when she stepped away from her YRF contract to do Aashiqui 2, a huge risk and something that could have led to her becoming irrelevant, as those in positions of power did not like such an independent move so early on in her career. You would be shocked on how one decision against the bigwigs can lead to a cascading effect of roles just drying up for you. Shraddha, that way, is very lucky that a movie like Aashiqui 2 became a sensation. It has not been smooth sailing as one would like to presume.
So no matter what water ran through that bridge, it's all okay now.
Well, I'm just waiting for the day when he calls me and he tells me, Shraddha, I want you in a film. So, fingers crossed that should happen soon.
I'm sure that'll happen.
This is a game that has been going on for decades, and I, through this video, wanted to refresh your memory regarding instances of Bollywood PR when a movie is successful. Remember this, whenever something is financially doing well, everyone wants a piece of the pie. And this often leads to fan wars and a lot of noise on social media. I'll categorize them in different slots, and you can also tell me in other instances where you feel actors have been shortchanged with credit when it comes to successful films. Clear preference in an ensemble cast. The biggest launch for new faces in the last 15 years or so in Hindi cinema has been that of 3 main cast members of Student of the Year directed by Karan Johar. The only part of the cast who did not come from a film family was Siddharth Malhotra. Of course, the film is fluff, surface level, a generic high school drama, but from an optics POV, the film was a financial hit despite Karan Johar stating that he lost money while making the film. However, what comes with the territory of being from a film family is that the noise associated with the success of a film is much louder than those who don't have a PR backing. Even before the film released, Varun Dhawan and Alia Bhatt were getting a lot of media attention. Movies like Highway and Main Tera Hero were already signed, and there was little to no expectation from a movie called Ek Villain. While Alia became a star to be reckoned with movies like Highway, Two States and Humpty Sharma, Varun was getting commercial attention with Main Tera Hero and Humpty Sharma. However, Ek Villain actually came as a dark horse for Siddharth Malhotra, causing for the industry to finally take notice of an outsider. You think I'm just making up stories, right? But see the reaction of the Ek Villain surprise party when Salman landed up to congratulate Siddharth Malhotra.
इनको इनकी पहली फिल्म में कोई क्रेडिट नहीं मिला था, अब इनको इस फिल्म का पूरा क्रेडिट मिल रहा है और आई एम रियली हैप्पी फॉर हिम एंड बहुत टैलेंटेड हैं, बहुत ही सुलझे हुए हैं और इंडस्ट्री की नहीं है और इतनी देर क्यों लगा दी इंडस्ट्री में.
The backing that allows for spreading the word out to the public that a new talent has arrived requires a machinery often outsiders are not privy to. While this was an ensemble cast where all 3 were mostly mediocre in a substandard film, when you look at the ensemble cast films like Omkara, I think it's pretty clear that Saif as Langda Tyagi got most of the praise for his portrayal, and I don't think anyone would like to take away that praise from him. Similarly, with a movie like Bareilly Ki Barfi, even though the film was about Ayushmann and Kriti's romance, I think it's pretty clear that the standout was Rajkumar Rao as Preetam Vidrohi. I still stand by the fact that I Am a Badass Babua moment brought Raj to the mainstream, and I don't think anyone is complaining. The supporting character steals the show. You know, we keep on talking about Stree 2 and who deserves the credit for the success of the film, and this never-ending debate continues. People who have seen the film of course equate it to Raj and his gambit of friends because of the screen time, whereas those who are confined to the social media optics equate it to Shraddha. However, I strictly want to focus on the movie and storytelling impact and tell you 2 cases where a character obviously stole the show, in one case was largely ignored, and in another deservedly got the attention of the world. Bajirao Mastani is one of Sanjay Leela Bansali's most celebrated work, and a lot of appreciation for the film went to Ranveer Singh and Deepika Padukone. But if you were to ask me personally, I think Priyanka Chopra as Kashi Bai had a far more holistic impact from a performance POV than Deepika Padukone as Mastani. The tale of star-crossed lovers who get absolutely blinded in their obsession and love for each other, it is Kashi Bai and her inner turmoil that I believe left such a heartbreaking impact on viewers. Priyanka's performance was etched in our memory, but if I were to take you down memory lane, most of the success was showered down upon Ranveer and Deepika. Similarly, the Ram Gopal Verma film Satya, the title role was played by J.D. Chakravarti. But Manoj Bajpayee as Bhiku Matre became a national sensation, and deservedly so. This was the case where a supporting character had such a profound impact that in many people's eyes, The film should have been revolving around that character. A lot of love and respect for J.D. Chakravarti, but I think anyone will confess that Bajpayee was the core of Satya and was deservedly showered with praise.
Everybody was very much sure that this film is going to be a flop. You know? And this is going to go nowhere. Yes, we will be appreciated, and that's it. And after the release, we have to look for the job.
Right.
The rule of the villain. This is the case that many people say is the golden rule of a commercial film success, that largely depends on a good versus evil narrative. That for the success of a commercial epic, it's important that the villain is compelling, has a believable motive, and is more interesting than the main lead. This is exactly the case for the first two Dhoom films. Even though Abhishek Bachchan would like to believe that Jay and Ali are the core of Dhoom, I mean, I don't discount their contribution, but the highlights of both the films have to be the antagonists, Kabir played by John Abraham and Aryan played by Hrithik Roshan. Both characters redefine style and swagger, and let's be honest, we were more interested in the film when they appeared versus the main leads. This was, however, the pre-PR era. When you look at the horrifying performances of thrillers also, with Prashant Narayanan in Murder 2, Ashutosh Rana in Sangharsh and Dushman, everyone will tell you about the nightmares these characters caused. And while we reminisce about these insane villain portrayals, they never seem to take over news portals and articles, in turn causing for a clash of egos between the actors involved in the project. The lead actors were mainly in the clear regarding credit. However, in the day and age of PR, if we revisit Padmaavat, the entire credit for the film and its success went to Ranveer Singh playing the role of Alauddin Khilji. For those who have seen any of Shahid Kapoor's interviews about Padmaavat, you will clearly notice that he was not satisfied with the final edit and screen time dispersion.
I wish Padmaavat was more balanced in its screen time.
There is no doubt about Ranveer absolutely killing it as the villain and deserving praise, but the overdrive nature of the interviews and articles post the film's release almost seemed to discount the contribution of the rest of the cast and crew for the final product of the film. It's the main character's film. This is the category where I want to mention that the film and its success is largely dependent on the main cast, and the chatter on social media trying to give credit to the cameo appearances is rather futile and mostly driven by fan pages wanting to create a narrative. These are instances where the cameos are top notch, absolutely leaving an impact, but to entirely give credit to the cameo for the success of the film is rather far-fetched. Like Saswata Chatterjee as Bob Biswas was terrifying in Kahani, but he was just a part of the reason for the investigative thriller to work. Fashion, a movie during the prime of Madhur Bhandarkar's industry expose films, largely rested its brilliance on Priyanka Chopra. And while Kangana was amazing in the film, you can't give the credit for the film's success on her cameo as Shonali Gujral. Both actresses bagging national awards for the same. Similarly, Salman Khan fans would like to believe that Kuch Kuch Hota Hai is the rage because of Aman turning in Tere Ghar Aaya Main Aaya Tujhko Lene, but it was only a part of the reason why the film has such a repeat value. Only a part. I'm sorry for singing, by the way. Similarly, Pathaan had many things going for it. A return after 4 years for Shah Rukh Khan, an extremely compelling villain in the form of Jim played by John, and Tiger's cameo was just the icing on the cake for a film that had everything going for it from a timing perspective, where the audience genuinely rooted for its success.
The backbone of Pathaan as a character, as an actor, and essaying that role. The best thing in Pathaan is Jim played by John.
Yeah. But in recent memory, I think there have been 2 cases of unfair movements of the PR machinery where the strategy has become so in your face that it actually does more of a disservice than contributing to creating a perception around an actor. The most brazen PR. A lot of people have made the argument regarding Shraddha Kapoor in Stree 2 rattling the cast as a sexism issue. That men can't fathom a woman receiving credit for a film, that men and their fickle egos can't take women being successful. But this argument gets defeated by 2 examples. The case of Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2 and its success in 2022, a time where most Hindi films were not working at the box office. The PR machinery really went overboard in crediting only Kartik Aaryan's star power, relatability factor, and ground level pull to lead to the success of the film. The machinery was so in your face that several interviews were given with the success of the film, equating Karthik to be the next reckoning to Shah Rukh Khan, being the trailblazer bringing audiences to theatres and the star of this generation. All claims blown out of proportion when everyone was clearly saying that the success of Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2 largely was due to the contribution and conviction of Tabu in the film, where Karthik was being gifted luxury cars by producers for those who had seen the film. Had it not been for Tabu, a largely fluff and partially entertaining horror comedy would have fallen on its own weight. This was the case where the one deserving the praise was clearly sidelined, and this was repeated in the case of Animal as well. Rashmika Mandanna in the lead up to the film's release was getting massively trolled for her dialogue delivery, but for anyone who has seen the film would admit that she absolutely killed it in the role. Yes, this became cemented especially because of the confrontation scene between Rashmika and Ranveer, where she leaves no stone unturned in calling out Ranvijay's hypocrisy. Also, those who have seen the film would confess that Tripti Dimri's subplot absolutely derailed the film, having little to no contribution in making the film more engaging or interesting. But the PR machinery for the film, with the movement of labeling Tripti as Bhabhi number 2, gave us so much commercial attention, whereas Rashmika and her contribution to the film was mostly forgotten after its success.
RK, Bobby, then Rashmika was. But none of the media, Bombay or like North media, they are not writing much about her. So it's all PR agencies.
Several of these examples clearly point out that there are cases where PR can help in positioning actors a certain way, but many times they have a tendency going overboard, where the audience gets frustrated with this brazen narrative that you can clearly tell has been constructed online, rather than the ground reality of those purchasing movie tickets week in and week out, which tell an entirely different picture. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you think about these PR tactics and this drama surrounding Stree 2. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.